So when I was looking at the chart that he puts up, who stems from whom and stuff, I was believing that, and I watched all the videos he has online, like his interviews he's done with that Fraser guy. Yeah, but I also saw videos, interviews that he's done with Ed Carini, and there he didn't even investigate because he really believes that the Kennedy murder was a murder, where now we know by Ed Carini that there has never ever anyone been murdered and Kennedy is Carter. So because he did not look at the videos of Ed Carini, I know that this Fraser or whatever he's called, the one that did so many interviews with Greg Hallett, is not really taking it as far as to really investigate. Then there is the topic Morgellons, stemming from the chemtrail investigation that Harald Krauts-Vella did, and I believe that there is chemtrails, aka aluminum, being put out into the air and coming down to us, making us ill. But all the other things, he says that they put out stuff that does replace our nervous system because we don't have enough copper in our systems, and then this kind of fiber spider-like animals get built within us, and yeah, these are the Morgellons. Nope. Then transvestigations are nothing, even though Mr. E was nice to watch, because I learned that there is no distinct woman's body or man's body. There is something looking more like a woman or looking more like a man, you know, posh, a man, or, well, strong, a man, or more feeble and kind of, you know, curvy, a woman. But all these things they tell you on the transvestigation video channels is just a time waste. Then the Flat Earth by Eric Dubé was kind of a time waste as well, because when he goes through the 200 reasons why that the Earth might be flat, it just doesn't really make any sense when you go and actually investigate. You know, the horizon is flat because when you have like something round and you put a sort of horizon to it, it always will look flat. Just do it on an apple and stuff like that. And then he says you don't see well, there is a lot of things he says, but usually he's always a little bit mistaken, and then you can kind of say, well, why doesn't he, now that there is videos out explaining the mistakes he does, why isn't he correcting himself? So then I went looking at to where he's living in Thailand and onto his second girlfriend he has there, which has a military background. So I go like, okay, he has reasons to put out this flat earth misleading topic, so that we are again not investigating the real shit. And then also the channel by Gil Broussard is a time waste, because there is no kind of planet every 360 years going all around the sun, and then we have all these floods on Earth, or the plasma tail of that planet killing our electronics and life as well. It just doesn't happen. But maybe the other things he's investigating are kind of cool, like the reason why that the apocalypse is written as it was somehow, or the Nebra disk, because there he really makes a point, because he says the sun and the moon are never in the sky at the same time shining as they are on there. So he can really, make a point when he says, well, there is another body in the sky. But well, that one would then say that there is a planet, but maybe it's a comet they have witnessed then. Yeah. So I went investigating how high would a flood be if some seas are flooding Switzerland. Would the nearest mountain be enough? No, it wouldn't. And then also, I really have to concentrate now not to get distracted now, because people talking and the radio playing. And then I also had to investigate about the gamma rays which come from the universe, not just the plasma tail. The plasma tail having killed electricity would make the water supply stop, so prepping made sense, and putting aside canisters of water as well, because what you need is water, then food. But also gamma rays hitting us, because the Earth's atmosphere would not be in function for maybe 2 days or so. Then I found out that Winsor Galen, these are all the good ones here, that Winsor Galen says, as a former chef of the electro company in the US of A, that they suddenly had to change their safety rules because of radioactivity. General Electric it was, and he said he went swimming in the cooling water of the reactor and he drank it when people came into his room, just to make a joke. And also in his lectures he's drinking or eating something that sounds on the Geiger counter, very dangerous. He eats that, and he does it, he says, on all his lectures, and by now he hasn't died. And he says the accidents that have happened because of radioactivity, they are all known. They are like 2 or 3, and it's not Chernobyl and it's not Fukushima. And also he says that the waste that gets put away probably is something that the government wants to hide from us, so that we don't look at it. They say it's as dangerous as that you're gonna die, and it has to be buried for millions of years. So something they cannot really destroy otherwise, or they want us not to look at. Maybe the books of the Vatican City, I don't know, they put in there. And then also, that's just a theory, I'm not really believing that, but I now believe that radioactivity is a problem if something happens, like an explosion, which is not Hiroshima, it was a normal TNT explosion there. Just look at the footage on YouTube. You can't go that close to any radioactive explosion, and the cameras wouldn't survive, whatever kind of, it hasn't been digital cameras then, if you film it. It's just all lies. And that one, yeah, is a fact. So then the Apocalypse by the Bible is widely discussed on the internet, because there it says that, someday there will be a incident that will put the earth to an end, and then 1,000-year reign, and then we all get into heaven, and then there is this New Jerusalem. So there is channels like Narnia, which are total time waste, as well as the Bible, God, religion, and all that, investigated by Eric John Phelps, because he says it's the Christian religion, it's just a satanic religion, and they just all do in the opposite as written in the Bible, visually, in the Vatican. Oh yeah, of course, then it's the same like talking about the tarot cards, which are an invention by the elite. So then also about Ralph Epperson talking about the politics in the US of A, changing from Democrats to Republicans every 11 years by talking about taxes, it is. That one is a time waste because the real story is they're all actors, the politicians there. You can see by Ed Chiarini, and you can see their genealogy by investigated by Miles Mattis. So we know when they are all related, something cannot be quite true about this Ralph Epherson. Because if you are related, you don't have to make this theater in the media, going, having these talks and never say, well, he's a cousin of mine, the one on the other side. They're always going, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, and they kind of do these staged events. Well, that's media, so that's why it's a time waste. And then genderism, which is not existing, is a time waste because biological sexes exist, but gender, that's some learned behavior that is a time waste because it doesn't lead to procreation, to kids. That's why it was invented by the elite. And Fomenko, I guess, was a time waste as well, saying that there is some 100 years missing in our history and that the elite just copy-pasted historic events. They always have the same formula, the way they are happening. There is really little material. Also, you have to believe that Russian guy. And then also the moon landing, of course, was a time waste because if they haven't been up there, why discuss it that wildly? Now the pictures are gone and we cannot prove that there are shadows directing in two different directions. And all the other things like prop numbers that are on stuffs, or just the build of the moon vehicle looks like some children did it. The Kennedy shooting we discussed, there is different endings having been shot, and the World Trade Center was a drill at the same time as well. So that's why none of those firefighters died. So when it was a drill that later led to a war, we have to discuss different topics, like why is all the media in the hands of a few reigning minority people from the elite, and they can trick us in the media and then go to war, sell their metal-based war machines, and in the media we get their media, and again when they print books, again we read their made-up history. That's kind of how it is. So that's why I say all of these topics are a time waste, and the good ones are here. Abela Reuchlin, the 432 Hertz tuning, Ed Chiarini, Miles Mattis, then Vladimir Radanov about the eye training, Alan Watt about history, Andreas Moritz about health, Darren Brown about psychology, Konstantin Meil about the scalar wave and how Wi-Fi is dangerous and other topics as well, universe, Erhard Landmann about the languages, all stemming from the old German, and we had it Windsor Galen about radioactive a tea being a scam. So, bye-bye.